Hey guys, it's Shay, and I just want to talk to you about friendship. I don't want to talk to you about it in the way that you may think, but the way that I'd like to share about it is, how do you become a good friend? Not just how do you get good friends. I think that's a very powerful topic that we'll have to hit at another time. But right now I just want to talk about how do you become a good friend? How do you become the person that you want to be your friend, or the person that you want as a spouse? How do you become the person that you're going to give them? Because honestly, you can't have double standards. You can't expect people to give you something that you need without giving it yourself. I know that's tough. I know that's very honest, but it's the truth. And honestly, the truth sets you free. So I just want to talk about that for a minute, because I think a lot of times we have a double standard and we want people to love us unconditionally. We want people to accept us. Even like the broken parts of our heart, we want people to actually accept it, but because we're scared they won't, we don't open that up to them. But it's also, you got to ask yourself, are you willing to love people in their brokenness? Are you willing to show unconditional love, not just get unconditional love? Because see, the thing is, the Father gives you unconditional love, but He loves getting unconditional love back from you. God does not have a double standard, so we shouldn't either. So how do you become that friend? It's learning to love unconditionally. And that's not to just say people, run over you all the time. There's obviously ways that you don't do that. But it's also just loving people where they are, being able to allow them to share where they are, where you're not always trying to share where you are, because you're the only one that really, you know what I'm talking about. And so there's ways that you become the good friend. There's ways that you become the spouse that you want to give somebody. And the only way you can do that is to become the very thing that you're seeking yourself. I have an amazing best friend in my life, and I've prayed forever for a best friend that I could do life with and to go on adventures with, and all those great things that we all want in a relationship, a friendship, or a spouse. But honestly, what I really prayed was for somebody that I could just be honest with and be myself with, and to be loved unconditionally. But I knew that I was going to have to be the thing that I also wanted and needed. So I had to learn that when this friend comes, I'm going to have to unconditionally love them. I'm going to have to look at them and say, I see where you're at. I see your baggage. I see your brokenness, but I still love you. And that doesn't determine how I feel about you. I'm not going to run away from you because you scare me or your stuff is too much for me. The same way that the Father looks at my best friend and looks at me is the way that I want to look at her and say, hey, your stuff doesn't scare me. Your stuff doesn't bother. I'm not intimidated by where you're at. I actually just want to love you where you are. So can you show me how to love you? I can't read your mind. Nobody can read people's minds. Just so you know, I don't know what you're thinking right now, just the way that you don't know what I'm thinking. The only way that we know is to communicate. And that's a huge, huge part of friendship, is just being able to communicate. The beautiful thing is when you do find a friend and you become that friend, that you learn to communicate and you learn to not take things personal, and you learn to do covenant relationships with other people, because you're both mutually getting what you both need, but you're also offering things that they need. So it's not just a one-way street, but it's a two-way street, which makes it very healthy and very, very fun, to tell you the truth. And so instead of always praying for your future spouse, instead of always praying for that best friend, like that ride or die friend, take time and ask the Holy Spirit. Ask other people even, what are areas that I could grow in to become the thing that I'm going to give to someone? How do I become the wife that I want to be? How do I become the friend that I want to be for somebody? Instead of always just being like, well, I need somebody to be like this, and I need them to look like this, and I need them to just love me where I'm at. I don't need them to tell me what to do. I just need them to show up. And the truth is, you may think that you want that, but you don't. Because in John 4, where we see Jesus talk to the woman at the well, she's looking for a place to connect. So she asks Jesus. And she says, where do I go to connect with God? Where do I go? And I think constantly we're looking for places to connect with people, places to belong. But the truth is that everybody can't belong to you, that you actually need to belong to other people. So not only can you pray for those things, and you should pray for your husbands and your spouses and your friends, but the truth is you also have to become. You have to become the thing that you're asking for, so that when it does come, you're both healthy and able to receive each other and walk this thing out together. So I hope that this is encouraging for you. My prayer for you is that you don't just get the friends that you need or the spouse that you desire, but that you become the very thing that God has put inside of you, and that you would bloom forth in destiny. So I hope you feel encouraged today.